there, coward.
Hello and welcome to Bit, the show that knows what thumbs are for. What?
On tonight's show, we're running on air in Kickstyle, we're floating in space in Descent 3, and we're walking through film noir in Nocturne. But first, here's Alex with some serious wheels.
All right, all you wannabe rally drivers out there, it's time to hit the streets with Rally Championship 99. But how does it compare with the reigning champ, Colin McRae? Just wait till you see what they've done.
This is the latest offering from Magnetic Fields and Europress, the two companies that have sold over 1 million copies of their PC rally racing series. And with 3D effects cards exploding in the scene since their last Network Q RAC rally from 3 years ago, they've burned a heck of a lot of rubber to get near photographic results. They enlisted real-life racers John Horton and Martin Rowe of Mobil 1 British Rally Championship fame to help out with the handling and all the little bumps and grinds, provided, of course, you have the hardware. Well, Colin McRae was built for a PlayStation model, while Rally Championship 99 was modeled from the start to perform on the PC. The huge benefit to console racers is that you can hang with your pals, engage in some friendly competition, and not take yourself or them too seriously. Personal computers are not this flippant. Although in RC99 you've got access to multiplayer options, including network games of up to 8 and single-screen games split into 2, crowding around a 17-inch screen gets a bit too cozy for most rally chaps. You've got 36 circuits with 6 different environments, all replicated on your machine. Car manufacturers were contacted and provided detailed blueprints of their automobiles, internally and externally, for the 10-plus vehicles, down to the spare tire in the boot. There are plenty of camera angles, fast motorcar racing, and beautiful British weather. But Rally Champ isn't perfect.
There's a distinct lack of a career mode. You start and finish the game with the same car. But be nice to it if you want to finish the race, because hey, forget fantasy. If you beat your car, it will beat you.
You can sightsee along 420 miles of actual British track, documented rigidly by Ordnance Survey maps, which feature at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, just in case you get lost. You have complete capability to go wherever and whenever you choose. The new fully rendered 3D environment is not something you'll see on a console or even in previous Rally Championship titles, so expect to be interactive with the trees and the mud when you go sliding and spinning down a verge. If you fancy, forget the race and go for a spot of lunch at the local farmhouse. You will be told off by your celebrity co-drivers, however.
Where do you think you're going? Went by.
Now, you might be known as the keyboard kid in your PC circles, you sad bastard, but your pitman skills with the keys won't take you to the limits with this game. It's highly recommended you play with the steering wheel. With lovely force feedback, you can now feel every lump and bump in the track as you careen over it. But how will this look on your machine? Ideally, you'll have access to some serious hardware. They're hoping to reduce the requirements to a Pentium 2, but at best you'll have a P3 and a super spiffy 3D effects card. This still won't knock out the pop-up effect. The visuals are distracting enough already without phantom trees emerging from beyond a 5-mile horizon.
For those of you not into slavish realism but still love driving games and admire the prospect of unlimited road access, well, you've got a couple of options. First is Driver from your PlayStation, out now but coming out in your PC in September. The next is Carmageddon. Now that whole series is out now on all formats, but Rally Championship 99 puts the pedal to your PC metal in September.
Music is a growing feature in video games, from dance-a-thons like Buster Groove to mixing tracks with Judge Jules. And last year we even saw a dog rapping its way to the top in Parappa the Rapper. Now August sees a sequel based on a brand new character. The name of the game? Amja Malami. Amja Malami could only have come from Japan. It was made by Rodney Greenblatt and Masaya Masura, who also created Parappa the Rapper.
Chop, chop, Master Onion!
The graphic style is almost identical to the original. The characters still look like pieces of paper in a 3D environment. The oh-so-sweet kiddie quality might put a lot of people off, but it's a great game to get drunk with. Which brings me to the gameplay. Your task is to press buttons in correspondence with moving heads. this is not at all easy. You play Lammy, a cute little female guitarist with very low self-esteem and absolutely no resemblance to Courtney Love. She, in fact, is a little lamb. She is off to meet her oh-so-cute band, Milk Can, at their debut concert. But she has only 15 minutes to get there, and that's where you come in. You help her to rock and jam her way out of problems that come up on the way to the venue.
Excuse me, I'm like in a hurry. Can you let me through?
Through the levels, Lammy is surrounded by some of the hilarious vegetable-cum-animal characters of the original game.
Yeah, that's right. My guitar's in my mind.
Listen on. High five, come on now.
Lammy is cute, but her guitar playing is dreadful. Thank God this is just a game. A crazy game. I'm Jama Lammy is a worthy sequel to ProRapper the Rapper, and if you prefer rock over rap and think that lamps on guitars might set your summer party alight, then I'm Jama Lammy for PlayStation is out in August.
From the early days of the 2000 AD comics, one of my biggest heroes was Chopper the Midnight Surfer. I used to dream of being him and surfing the city skylines. Well, at long last, it's now virtually possible with a new game called Trickstar for your PC and Dreamcast. I've glimpsed the future, and I like it. The setting is very similar to the comic story. World War III has been and gone. Peace reigns again, but the people need entertainment, so they've taken to the streets to race hoverboards. You will play one of 9 international cyber surfers, all extremely different. Each character has their own speciality. While one may be light and nippy, another's bulk will come in handy for pushing opponents off the track. Very useful as there are no weapons. There's Angel, the Baby Spice lookalike who heralds from a convent in England and wears suspenders, kinky. There's also King, a stuntman from the Cuban Elvis Society who bears more than a passing resemblance to the man himself. The races are set in London, Manhattan and Tokyo. The cities look futuristic and slick, very Blade Runner but with a dash of green. You'll pass the occasional landmark or perhaps pick it out in the distance from the phenomenally detailed skyline. Every city holds 5 tracks, plus a final stage, and there's millions of ways of completing each track as you'll find shortcuts everywhere. But you're going to have to be quick to see them. Just to ensure that you'll still be playing this game 6 months after its release, you'll also be able to make up your own course in the track editor. Excellent stuff. If you want to win, you'll not only have to go fast, but also impress the crowds with your moves. So before you access the city, spend some serious time in the velodrome, picking up stunts and learning the 3 basic moves. The first is the jump. Once you've got the hang of this, you'll be capable of some serious air to pull off some breathtaking combination stunts and launch yourself over any impending obstacles. Next is the spin position, which gets you through breakable obstructions without any damage to yourself. And finally, the luge. Getting into this position will make you go scarily fast and look seriously cool. Of course, there are bonus levels too, mini races in the velodrome. And when you're playing 2-player versus, you can pick your own route between city landmarks for even more track choice. The level of thought that has gone into this game is mind-blowing, from the superb scenery to the coolest characters and moves. Developers Criterion Studios have really maxed out the power of the PC and Dreamcast. In fact, I defy anyone not to enjoy this game, and it's due out in September.
Well, it's cheat time again on Bits, so I hope you've got your VCRs a-recording because we're going to start off with Driver. Now, Driver is the game that's been at the top of the PlayStation and all formats charts for the past couple of weeks. And it's the game where you plop yourself right smack dab in the middle of your fantasy car chase scene from any movie. What do you do after you finish this massive game? Why, play it upside down, of course. So, to invert the screen, please type in the following.
Armageddon 2 is the controversial game that lets you score points mowing down innocent pedestrians and turning them into jam. But what happens if you want to bounce off them? Well, I've got a dirty little cheat for them. You can turn your suspension into jelly. Just type in "lap my love pump" followed by Mr. Wobbly.
Riding high on the PC charts is Total Annihilation Kingdoms. This is the game that lets you wage war on the nations of the world. If you think the gameplay isn't bloody or gooey enough, then type in this cheat and you'll amp up the gore factor.
Join us after the break for some more of this.
Just me and a friend.
One fresh and
Last year, a group of people came together with the intention of totally changing the face of the computer games industry. The gathering of developers was formed by 4 companies, each of whom had at least one game that sold over the 500,000 mark internationally. Among the titles, you've got the Duke Nukem series, the Dooms, the Terminal Velocity, Sin, and the Heroes of Might and Magics. If you throw in a little bit of Quake ideology, well, what you have is a publishing company for developers and by developers. It's kind of a hippie business thing.
So, a year and a half later, these dudes are finally releasing their first crop of games. We've decided to take a sneaky peek at one of them. This one's called Nocturne. Terminal Reality is the company responsible for this 1930s combination of Kolchak the Night Stalker and the X-Files. Resident Evil fans rejoice, because this is better than Capcom's mainstay. You play a secret agent so undercover that you're only known as the Stranger, and then the ghoulies come in, tossing dismembered and flaming human torsos. Your mission is to destroy the evil dead and keep all your antics under wraps from the curious townfolk. The big hype about this game, other than its god pedigree, are the visual phenomena. Lots of little parts have been created, like the advanced cloth simulation, causing real-life cloak falling effects. Is the entire engine dedicated to achieving this? Well, it may have the most powerful engine on Earth, but Joe Punter's gonna have to run it on a top-spec PC to get the most out of the 4,000 polygons that make up the skin.
Nocturne is set to hit the PC streets on Halloween, so go out and order your trilbies and your cloaks now for full immersive action.
Yes, there's so many stories flying around about how mobile phones will fry your brain. Well, those brilliant people at Nintendo have come up with a reason to keep them in your hands and away from your head. They're bringing out a new software which will mean you'll be able to play all Game Boy titles on your mobile phone. It will work as a pay-as-you-download system, although it's not quite clear whether you'll pick it up via the internet or direct dial straight to your phone. It's being marketed to teens and even pre-teens, which just goes to show that there's a lot of loose money out there. Well, rumours abound in the industry that Nintendo will no longer be bringing out any more titles for the N64 in view of their forthcoming Dolphin console. Bits got straight to the point and asked them what's the story. This is what they said. The idea that Nintendo will stop the development of new N64 titles is laughable. We have the strongest software lineup ever this year, with Jet Force Gemini, Donkey Kong 64 and the eagerly anticipated Perfect Dark, all forthcoming titles this autumn. Nintendo will continue to develop games for the N64 well into 2001, with Banjo-Kazooie 2 and Zelda 2 already on the cards. So it's quite clear that these rumours are absolute garbage. Well, there you have it, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Codemaster has finally set the date for the release of its first ever boxing game. Prince Naseem Boxing is on the shelves in September, and after quite a dry period in this punchy fighting genre, this game is finally the answer to EA's Knockout Kings 99 and GVC's Victory Boxing 2. Naseem convinces through absolute realism and is centered around the 24-year-old featherweight world champion himself. With 32 of 32 fights won and 29 knockouts, Codemasters couldn't have found a better commercial hero for their PR plot machine. They have managed to project all Naseem's arrogance and distinctive style onto a well-rendered leopard-skinned fighting machine. They even got his pointy ears into proportion. How nice it would be to box them. The game itself is pretty impressive, especially in terms of real-time effects, but some of the key features are missing, so Codemasters have withdrawn it from its scheduled release. But they are working on the improvements right now, and we'll be giving you the full analysis once the new version is ready.
Chucky's not the only toy coming to life this summer, but let's hope these mini motor monsters that you're about to see do a lot less damage and spread a little less blood. And you want to watch out for your ankles, because you never know when this little lot are going to come at you. Yes, toy cars are back. This time they're radio controlled and on the streets in Acclaim's forthcoming Revolt. This is the grown-up version of Micro Machines. The Diddy cars are off the breakfast table and into reality, getting the chance to explore their environment. There's a whole toy shop of cars to choose from, covering slick races to buggies. Many of the cars you can start with, but others you'll have to unlock. They range from rookie, amateur, semi-pro and pro class, each with individual driving characteristics that demand different skills from you. If you've tried the real thing but were crap at it, you won't necessarily be any better with the digital controls. But the big advantage is that you don't have to run halfway down the street to flip them back over again. The graphics look great on the game and there are some really smart touches. Check out the reflections on the polished floor. I also really like the skid marks. They stay in place for the next time you come around, so you can look out for your past cock-ups on corners. You'll also want to keep an eye open for the revolving volt signs. These will deliver you a choice of power-ups. Watch out for the fake ones that blow you up though. You'll notice as well that depending on what surface you're travelling on, the car will respond differently. Very nice touch that. As you speed about, keep an eye open for shortcuts, because you'll have to be quick to beat the game's mean little AI. The game is loads of fun and you can play all your mates, as it supports up to 4 players on both console versions. And many more on the PC over LAN or internet. If I have to fault it, it's that mosquito buzzing noise that really gets me every time. I know it's supposed to be like the real thing, but it nearly drove me insane. Certainly similar to previous Diddy car races, but the graphics look great and the realistic physics add a whole new dimension to an old concept. If you haven't already got anything like this, you could do a lot worse. Revolt will be out for your PC, PlayStation and N64 this August.
The game you're watching is Grand Theft Auto, where you play a gangster's errand boy. You steal cars, kill cops, and pick up points by mowing down innocent pedestrians. All a bit of a laugh, perhaps, but GTA had its fair share of controversy, along with Auto's Slaughterfest Carmageddon. With new GTAs and Carmageddons in the pipeline and Kingpin just about on the shelves, we're wondering where it's all headed. Bits speaks to Mr. GTA himself, Gary Penn.
You guys are responsible for the GTA 2 that's coming out, hopefully by the end of this year.
Yeah, we're just finishing off at the moment. We've spent the last 2 years putting a new one together. At the moment we're testing and we're editing and making sure things work.
You guys were raised in the House of Commons at one point, GTA.
Yeah.
Do you know why? I mean, it was surrounding the time of Carmageddon as well.
Yeah, there was Carmageddon and GTA at the same time. Carmageddon was quite obviously very graphic in the way it handled its violence. GTA, I think, was a lot more subtle. But of course, there were a lot of implications as to, well, you're running over people, you're stealing cars. A lot of that got blown out of proportion because I don't think a lot of the politicians, if any of them, had actually seen the content at that time. If you were describing what goes on in GTA, it sounds far worse. There's not anywhere near the level of graphic detail as you get with Kingpin, for example, or with Carmageddon.
Checkpoint!
GTA, as I say, keeps the distance. That's important. It leaves a lot more to imagination, so you're running over these faceless pedestrians who don't really have any personality. They're not male or female. They're basically these nondescript pedestrians. You impart whatever image you want on those pedestrians. It could be your mum, your dad, your teacher, your boss.
Do you think the controversy and sort of censorship is going to be an issue in the future?
Yeah, definitely.
How?
Purely because, as with any new medium, it's going to be exploited rather than explored. People exploring violence and sex and perhaps even sexual violence in all forms in the real world aren't understood that clearly. Having this medium to allow you to explore what may or may not be possible, what might feel like to kill somebody. think that is interesting because it's undeniable whether it's a moral issue or not, whether you really want to kill somebody. I don't. But I'm curious to know what it feels like and the implications, the ramifications of taking their life, and also the effects it would have. And you could do that through a good book or a good film would show you the side effects of, this is what happened, you've killed somebody, and this is the knock-on effects of life after that person's death. You could probably do it far more dramatically, far more disturbingly, I think, even, in a game, because you'd actually get to see what's going on.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Gary, thank you very much. And GTA 2 is coming out soon, yeah?
Yeah, we're aiming for October on PC and PlayStation.
Excellent.
GTA 2 is yet to be unveiled, but like its predecessor, the violence will remain at a safe distance. However, can the same be said for its ad campaign? It seems GTA 2 is hoping to capitalize on even more controversy. Gratuitous, perhaps. Cynical, for sure. But if GTA 2 is anything like the original Grand Theft Auto, we'll be looking at a serious chart topper.
Descent 3 is the long-awaited sequel to the intergalactic shoot-'em-up brother, but this time it's bigger, it's smoother, and it picks right up from where Descent 2 left you, drifting in a spacecraft. But through a miracle, you are saved by some researchers out on a mission to find you. Your body gets an all-over facelift, and you are left ready for combat. On the way through a series of subterranean environments, one of your goals is to eradicate enemy mining bots, which will make full use of the total 3D environment, as bots shoot at you from all directions. But unlike the other Descent adventures, this sequel is not just all tunnels. In fact, Descent 3 lets you make a seamless real-time transition between flying out of mines and into fully external environments. There are 10 brand new, fearsome weapons, and you get to navigate 3 new ships through 50 massive, detailed levels with multiple objectives and very sophisticated puzzles. Actually, it's pretty hard. Harder than its predecessor, especially in the later missions. The key is to watch your back and make sure you choose the right vehicle. And that brings me right to the Descent 3 tournament. That's not part of the game, it's a real tournament organized by Interplay. They are looking to find the most capable Descent 3 pilot, and they're set to give him or her $50,000. You can still register for it until this Saturday for the pre-rounds, which are played over the net. If you get through, there's a definite place for you in the finals held at the Caesar Palace in Las Vegas between the 26th and 29th of August. But you can also just skip the pre-stages and go to Vegas directly and play your way into the finals right there and then. For more info, check out www.cyberathlete.com or www.interplay.com for more details. All in all, Descent 3 is a step up from the previous version. So turn up your speakers, lock yourself into your living room, and prepare yourself for weeks of intergalactic combat. Descent 3 for PC is out to buy now.
Competition time! And this week we've got loads of Alien vs Predator goodies.
We've got the PC game, all of Alien and Predator movies on VHS, t-shirts, rucksacks, and Primus official strategy guide.
All you have to do is answer this very scientific question.
In biology, which term is used to describe the flea that lives on its doggy host?
Please email your answer to bitsforlater@aol.com.
Beware, coward.